Thank you very much for joining me on Business Live. Let's now settle over the very first story. Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta has disclosed that the Cabinet is working on a tax exemption law to be sent to Parliament to review some exemptions granted by government. The minister admitted that government is challenged with revenue mobilization, necessitating a second look at the tax collection process. Ken Ofori-Atta believes Parliament will do the necessary amendments and come up with a better policy on tax exemptions. He was speaking at an economic forum organized by the Dankwa Institute here in Accra. Ebenezer Sabote has more in this report. We'll certainly bring you details of that story shortly in the bulletin. But for now, Minister for Roads and Highways Akwesia Mwakwata says government has directed the release of funds to settle debts owed contractors. A greater portion of an estimated $1 billion is earmarked for outstanding payments. Prince Appiah was at the stakeholder meeting in Kumasi and our reports.
Government indebtedness to contractors is a major challenge for players in the industry, as some of whom have threatened to demonstrate. There has even been suggestion for government to legislate on the matter as part of measures to regulate management of such debts. Sector Minister Mr. Mwakwata's deputy Kwabna Owusu-Ediomi says the situation amounts to cost to government due to implication to project execution.
Delay in paying for work done by the contractors, as the chairman rightly so indicated, is also affecting us. The Ministry of Roads and Highways and the government of Ghana is paying huge interest on delayed payments. About 80% of the IPCs that I've had the privilege to go through prior to the Honorable Minister's endorsement are claims on interest on delayed payments. This is very worrying. Whilst we are here, we need to strategize and see what we can do. Huge amounts are being paid in projects as price fluctuations because projects travel beyond their initial contractual completion period. Communities also do not receive the early benefits that these ongoing projects were to give them.
The minister then gave assurance funds are available for payment to begin soon. He spoke at the strategic meeting in Kumasi for stakeholders in the road sector.
And I want to assure all contractors in this country that the president, and for that matter, the government is alive to this responsibility. And I am happy to announce that His Excellency the President has directed the Minister for Finance to give $1 billion United States dollars to mine sector, greater part of which is to go into the direct payment of all outstanding and delayed road payments.
Mr. Mwakwata hints contractors on cocoa roads previously under the Agric Ministry will be paid first beginning next week.
All contractors working on cocoa roads will be receiving letters from the various agencies starting from next week, because we have selected the critical ones and they may be asked to go back to work. I therefore want to appeal to them that they should continue to work closely with government.
Meanwhile, the ministry wants its directors and engineers to always ensure they operate within budget. Prince Appiah reporting.
Let us stay in Kumasi, where the Consolidated Bank of Ghana (CBG) says the quest to enhance financial inclusion is high on its agenda as it targets SMEs and the informal sector. The bank, which is the third largest in the country, established as part of the ongoing banking sector reforms, has opened 2 more branches in Kumasi. Again, Prince Appiah reports.
The Consolidated Bank of Ghana currently has 120 branches across Ghana. General Manager, Corporate Banking, Edward Comey says SMEs are the focus of the new phase of the bank.
And our vision now is to grow aggressively on the market. And we've gotten people from all over the banking industry to join us, grow the business. Where lies our focus? Our focus is to grow our local business. SMEs is where we're going to focus on. The local corporates are the ones we are going to focus on because they are the engine of the economy. They are the engine that drives growth to the economy. So our focus is to make sure that we give them very simple products. We wouldn't want to give them anything complex that will make understanding tough. We want to give them very simple, not only simple but secure. They want to differentiate ourselves from the market.
2 new branches of the Consolidated Bank of Ghana have been launched in Kumasi. The Asafo and Alaba branches, according to officials, will put the bank on track to bring in banking services to the doorsteps of customers. Deputy Managing Director Thairu Ndungu.
Sooner than later, you're going to see our young boys and girls going to do collections from the marketplace, making sure that instead of the customers having to come to the banking hall every time, it's us going to the customer and letting the customer do what they are good at, doing their own business, and us bringing the banking closer to them, to their businesses, to their homes. We want also to be known as a digital bank, such that 24/7, when you want to do your banking, you can do it without being constrained by banking opening hours.
Board Chairman Welbeck Abrapia says in the face of what led to the establishment of the bank, they have no excuse to fail.
We are pleading with everybody that we selected the best among the entire staff of over 2,700 of all these banks who were roped into the Consolidated Bank, out of which we have picked about 2,400 to work with us. If we were good, obviously, you would have been retained. So if people go around and they try to soil the reputation of Consolidated Bank, it's rather unfortunate. We dare not fail. And I'm assuring Ghanaians we will not fail.
Meanwhile, management of the bank has paid a courtesy call on Asantehene Otumfuo Tutu II as it celebrates 20 years. Prince Apia reporting.
Let's turn attention to the aviation sector now, where the era of passengers left with no compensations when domestic airlines delay or cancel a flight will soon come to an end. Ghana Civil Aviation Authority says it is finalizing a directive on air passenger rights. The directive deals with passengers' rights and air operators' obligations by addressing consumer protection issues and setting out types of compensation for overbooking, denied boarding, delays, and cancellation of flights. Speaking to Joy Business, the Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Simon Alute, says they are hopeful of getting the law into effect by June this year.
Prior to the development of the passenger rights and consumer protection directives by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, issues of passenger rights and protection were dealt with by provisions under the Montreal Convention of 1999. The convention, among other things, provides for the rights of passengers to compensation in the event of flight delays, damage and loss of baggage, among others. But speaking to Joy Business, the Director General for the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority said his outfit is wrapping up the draft Passenger Rights and Consumer Protection Bill to be implemented by June.
We've virtually looked at all the issues. We've had a series of public stakeholder fora to solicit inputs, and the Consumer Protection Agency have brought their inputs, airlines, the general public, and all these have been incorporated in the final draft. The next stage is to submit it to the Honorable Minister for Aviation for its approval, and once that is done, it will be coming to effect. Our target is that by the end of the second quarter of this year, that's by the end of June, it should have come into effect.
Mr. Alute further outlines some of the issues the new directive will be addressing.
So, for example, if you are delayed for a certain number of hours, say the flight to take off, but it delays for several hours, the airlines will have to compensate you. At the minimum, they should provide you with meals. If you have a confirmed ticket and you are denied boarding due to overbooking, you have to be compensated. And all these are enshrined in the passenger rights. Say your baggage gets missing. Lots of people have missing baggages and nothing is done to them. The airlines will have to compensate you, and there are a whole lot of provisions which will ensure that passengers are treated fairly by the airlines, and there could be sanctions if airlines do not comply with these directives.
The draft directives has currently been published on the website of the authority. For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklu.
Let's move back to our earlier story, where the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, has disclosed that the Cabinet is working on a tax exemption law to be sent to Parliament to review some exemptions granted by government. The Minister admitted that government is challenged with revenue mobilization, necessitating a second look at the tax collection process. Ken Ofori-Atta believes Parliament will do the necessary amendments and come up with a better policy on tax exemptions. He was speaking at an economic forum organized by the Dankwa Institute here in Accra. Ebenezer Sabuti has more in this report.
Government in the 2018 budget granted tax exemptions to some manufacturers and removed some nuisance taxes on selected imported items, including spare parts. According to Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, Cabinet has identified some of the exemptions not useful and therefore the need for review.
We can't pretend that we have adequate savings for the trajectory of growth that we want to occur. So that leads to a certain competitiveness that you have to come to. But we actually have reassessed that, and there is a cabinet document that is supposed to go to Parliament on really recalibrating exemptions, because we are seeing, like you, that some of them may not be relevant, so that we have a much better balance, because the increase in exemptions has been quite phenomenal over this period, and I worry about it, and we need to really stave it.
Ken Ofori-Atta has also downplayed assertions that a reduction in benchmark revenue, which has been implemented at the port, is having a negative impact on revenue.
We have somewhere around a 13% revenue to GDP ratio, which ostensibly means that compared to our peers, we are almost like 7 percentage points below. So we clearly are not doing enough, okay? And therefore, the challenge is, the solution for me is not one of high taxes. It has to be a level in which people will voluntarily pay. There's going to be a squeeze, but it's the same supplier response we got when we first came into government.
The minister, however, commended the Ghana Revenue Authority for improving domestic revenue collection despite the challenging times for the economy. Eben Sabuti's report for Joy Business.
Meanwhile, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Emmanuel Kofinti, has issued a strict notice to tax officers to ensure that collection from the informal sector, especially the self-employed, records positive growth. According to him, the non-performance of tax revenue from that sector is a source of worry for the Commission, and all the necessary measures are being put in place to address the situation.
Informal tax collection has been a challenge for the Ghana Revenue Authority due to the lack of availability of credible data for the sector. Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Kofinti, has hinted that informal tax mobilization has been key on his agenda to increase revenue. He disclosed that a strict notice has been issued to all officials at the various revenue offices to ensure positive growth in the informal sector tax collection.
Informal sector, some may be spread within the self-employed and other areas, but the major quantum are captured within the self-employed.
Wow.
And that area we just made up just about the percent.
Thank you.
And so for this year, and even on that line, some offices are not able to meet their targets on the self-employed. And so as one of the KPIs, key performance indicators, I made the position that no office should report a negative deviation on the self-employed line.
Wow.
It is the line that shows the level of how active the office is.
Okay.
The commissioner was speaking at the Economic Forum by the Dankwa Institute with focus on bridging the informal and formal sector gaps for domestic revenue mobilization. On his part, Commissioner of Customs Isaac Krenzel hinted the country recorded a negative growth in collection at all the ports as a result of non-compliance.
So the 2018 was a very bad year for customs in particular. Tema, which carry about 80% of our national revenue in terms of international trade, had only about 7%.
Wow.
From 29% to 7%. So realize that virtually it's more or less a negative performance, but it was above the 2017 growth. KIA, all the rest had negative performance because then they realized that people started using every available means, either by way of using the transit route, using the suspended regimes. We talk about warehousing, we talk about re-export, all in the view that the cost of doing business at the Temapos was very high.
The Commission is on course to deploy electronic platforms to increase revenue mobilization. Ibn Sabute's report for Joy Business.
And in other stories, Mayor of Accra, Mohammed Ajay Sowa, has ruled out the ban of plastics packaging as a solution to plastic waste management. Although many are calling for the ban, Mr. Ajay Sowa believes the use of biodegradable plastics will be best for the country.
The problem of sustainable disposal and collection of plastic waste has remained a menace for decades. This has led to clogged drains, posing an environmental and health threat to the society. It has therefore led to the call for a total ban of plastic packaging in order to reduce the waste. However, Mayor of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Mohammed Ajay Sowa, says a complete ban will not be possible. Rather, government is pushing for the use of biodegradable plastics to manage the situation.
I think that the Ministry of Science, Innovation and Technology is coming out with a policy on plastic. So I do not intend to take the wind out of the sail. But my personal view is that it is practically impossible to ban plastic entirely around the world. And it's never even done even in Europe. What it's being done is the type of plastics which is being produced. Are they biodegradable? Because the type of plastics that we have, it doesn't degrade for over 500 years. So we are pushing more for a biodegradable plastics as an alternate to what we have presently, so that we can also make an economy out of it.
Let's do some plastic-related issues. Poor sanitation management remains a national challenge, with an estimated cost of $290 million annually to the country. Besides, lives and property are lost when plastics and polythene bags choke drains and cause floods. Some youth in Asokre-Mampong municipality of the Ashanti region are producing paper bags as an alternative to widespread use of plastics. Nana Yojima takes a look at the economic and environmental benefits of these innovative youth and the community.
Waste materials, mostly plastics, are unpleasant sights in drains and other places in Kumasi, despite huge investment by city authorities to clear them.
So I just got myself 2 CD 50 pesos worth of cocoa and kose, and it is coming in at least 4 different polythene bags. This for the kose, this one for the cocoa, and they decide to put the 2 in this plastic bag. And finally, this one. But honestly, I don't know the use of this one. So the packaging comes at a cheaper cost, but the cost to the environment, I would say, is enormous.
Kumasi Metropolis and recently created municipalities generate 1,500 tons of solid waste daily, some of which are uncollected. The non-degradable nature of such waste and their improper disposal cause drains to choke. Asanteman Traditional Council, city authorities and private investors have plans to find lasting solution to disposing of such waste. Amoma Hene, Nana Ajenim Boateng the First, speaks about plans to build a waste treatment plant.
But this system that we're going to use will first be separating and segregating all the baggage that would have come. You would have separated the plastic waste and everything. So, and each one, as you know, has its recycling levels. So like if you go to Europe, the plastic and the bottles will have a recycling. Then you have it as you can have a biomass.
Dinar Yusuf is victim of perennial floods along the Abu Abu storm drain. Like other residents in the area, he cannot wait for such an initiative come into fruition. Until that happens, however, Dinar is taking his destiny into his own hands.
As you can see, if you look around, there are houses around which is empty, and people use money to building those houses. And as a result of that, they can't stay in because as soon as it rains, the houses get flooded.
From a small space at an entrepreneurship hub, Dinar produces paper bags under the brand name Easy Bags, convenient to carry almost all items, just like plastic carriers. With 3 supporting people, he hopes to reduce use of polythene bags in the Asokore-Mampong municipality. Unfortunately for him, the communities he thought of helping with such an initiative have shown little interest in terms of patronage due to pricing.
So when you take like a takeaway rubber or a takeaway package, the rubber type, when you take 1 CD 50 pesos, you are getting a bulk of it. But compared to, based on the size of the paper bag, whether branded or not, or customized or not, based on the size and everything, 1 CD can get you 1 paper bag. So basically, they weigh that kind of options, and then they say that, oh, okay, I'll get in touch with you. But
young fashion designer at Abu Abu, Mutala Mohammed, is one of Dinar's regular customers. He is one of few people in the Asokore-Mampong municipality who have embraced paper bags. The chief executive of Milano Fashions tells me how adoption of paper bags has helped improve business beyond environmental benefits.
But to make your work so unique, you have to use the paper bag to attract people. But if we are going to think about the cost of the paper bag, you can't do that work.
Both entrepreneurs believe environmental issues should be a priority of the youth, as the older generation, in their view, has failed to take the needed action. Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Let's quickly turn attention to the stock market, where MTN Ghana this week recorded the highest volume of 4.3 million traded shares, followed by GOIL with 108,100 out of the 14 equities which participated in trading this week. Stock market analyst Beta Atubika has been explaining the reasons behind this impressive performance.
This trading session. Now, on Monday, MTN added 2 pesos to its share price, and then we saw it close at 70 pesos per share, and then lost 3 pesos on Wednesday. And Wednesday, MTN traded over 26 million shares on the exchange, and that sell-off, it means that there was a buyer and there was a seller. But because of the worth of MTN on the stock market, we saw the worth of the entire exchange actually come down to about 57,310.89, 57,694.24 million Ghana cedis. So that is the impact that it had on Wednesday. We didn't see the worth of the exchange go up, and that resulted in the equity coming down by 3 pesos. And by close of yesterday, it traded further, like 4.3 million shares were traded in the equity again, and we saw it add another 3 pesos to close at 70 pesos per share. And now what is happening is that there are still more trades that are going to take place in MTN, and that it's actually going to dominate the market, especially next week.
So what? All right, so those thoughts were shared earlier on the market